The morning stream. Rambling goes in, podcast comes out. You can't explain that.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to TMS. It's the morning stream for Thursday, January 14th, 2021. I'm Scott Johnson. He's Brian Ibbett.
Hi. Hello and happy Thursday to you.
Thanks, man. I'm drinking a warm drink out of my It's a Frap mug here.
Warm drink. I drink a cold drink. I drink a salty drink. I drink a sweet drink.
It's a little chilly in here today because it's supposed to be in the 40s, 50s, and we didn't want to have the heater just blaring away, so we kind of let it not be on all night, and as a result, it's a little chilly in the office. But
you got to get a hoodie on, drink warm beverage. I'm drinking out of the same Ember mug that has basically made the entirety of my coffee cup collection, air quotes for those who are listening to the podcast, unnecessary. Although Tina still uses them.
Do you have it's like there's like a cupboard up there that's just full of them and you just don't use them?
Yeah, it's full of them. Actually, I take that back because at night I'll have tea.
Yeah.
And so I'll use those.
Yeah, and you keep the Ember business downstairs where you have access to the heater part of it, right? Okay, that makes sense.
I got my coffee cup. I got my lady flask.
Drink. Oh, look at your lady flask. Yeah.
Of creamer.
Yeah.
This is my lady flask of creamer.
Uh-huh. Wait, does
this
that stay refrigerated
really
or what?
Sold in Bed Bath & Beyond as a lady flask.
So hold on, do you refrigerate it or what do you do with that thing?
Yeah, I refrigerate it,
okay.
But it's also like a thermos inside.
Oh, gotcha. So it'll last all day.
You can kind of tell by listening.
Nice.
And then I've got, my actual thermal carafe of coffee.
Yeah, there you go. Brian is
you'll
once
hear
again
me pour myself more and more cups as the day goes by.
Once again proving that none of us know how to drink coffee except Brian.
I don't know if I do. I just apparently drink a lot of coffee, probably more than I should.
And you're okay until you pee brown. If you start peeing brown, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So watch out for that. It means your filter's
I poop
broken.
yellow though. Is that a problem?
Nah, it's okay.
I poop a frappuccino. Is that an issue, Scott?
That's normal. Totally.
Is that too much coffee? Is that
just too much information? That's all. Fine. Hey, I got a thing to tell you about. Here, check this out. So yesterday I was doing the math and realized that, in the history of, this is not, I'm not about to go political, but I am going to discuss things that happen in the political world briefly, okay?
Okay, all right.
In the history of this country, what are we, 200 and...
No way any of this can go wrong. So
no, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Fully on board.
So how old are we, this country of ours? Hold on.
1776, so we're 245 years. Is that right? 245?
Almost 250, somewhere in that
range.
Yeah,
almost 250. Yeah, my course is 244, so
which isn't a lot. That's two 100-old dudes and a 50-year-old. Like, it's not really that much.
That's right. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like somebody.
I like that it's basically you measure time like some people measure the distance to the moon. It's if you put this person's life from end to end, it would be 200-year-old guys and a 50-year-old guy.
Right. So if you look at it from that perspective, there was a 100-year-old guy. He lived and died, and the day he died, a baby was born. This is all true, by the way. It's literally happened. Somebody was born. They lived 100 years. Died, and on that day, a guy who's 45 today was born. So all you 45-year-olds, you're just third generation, really, technically, if everyone lived to be 100?
That's right. I can't wait till we're 5 guys years old. That's going to be a great day, and there'll be peanut shells on the floor.
Well, we're going to eat like kings. So here's the thing. I got to thinking about it. We've had a total now of 4 impeachments in the history of this country. We had one for Andrew Johnson. Some people confuse it with Andrew Jackson. That was not correct.
Right.
Andrew Johnson was impeached for, he actually gave a guy a job without somebody's approval. It was a pretty low bar then.
Wow.
Anyway, that was one of them.
Pretty innocuous, it's like.
Yeah, it was real small. I mean, there was some other charges of like abuse of power or something, but none of that stuff stuck. What they got him on was that. So that was your first one. And then your second one, jump all the way forward to Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, right. Old Hillary Clinton there with his...
Well, it depends on what your definition of is.
He got caught lying to a grand jury about whether or not he gave or he received. It was on the receiving end of a.
It was on the receiving end, yes.
Of a beej.
I did not have sexual relations. Oh, yeah, I guess I did.
I mean,
Sorry.
I guess I did, but I
guess
lied.
I did.
I did not.
Well, can we
inhale.
define that real quick?
That was so stupid. What a dumb time in history. All right, so that happened, and that was he was impeached but not removed because it didn't make it through the Senate, but it was still an impeachment.
Trump did both of those things in his first 10 days.
Yeah, exactly. So he got in trouble for lying about a blowy. Okay.
Right.
And then you jump up to here, and we got 2 in 14 months for Donald John Trump.
Right.
We won't get into the details there, but here's my point. 3 of the 4, 75% of all impeachments, I was alive for, and you were alive for.
Right.
You were here.
I see. In the 2,500-year-olds, 100-year-old people history of this country.
Yeah. 75% of its impeachments happened during our lifetime.
Now,
to make it weirder, Van, the boy, the little grandson that we got here.
Yes.
He has been alive.
50% of the.
Yes. He's been alive for 50% of all impeachments. 2 of them happened
really
before he turns 2 years old. That's just crazy.
That is crazy.
Anyway, there's the math for you.
No, that is nuts. But does it mean that we're going to become more of a society that if you're on the other side, whether or not you, because I want to phrase this in a way that doesn't make it sound like I'm at all saying that, oh, he didn't do anything wrong, he didn't mean to get that mob all
I know what you're
fired up.
saying. Are you worried that partisan partisan litigiousness will keep going up?
We're going to see attempts at impeachment for Biden from the Republican Party. We're going to see in the next the next administration, the side that didn't win is going to do everything they can to impeach. And I know there's always been 2 sides. There's always been Republicans, Democrats, and I know, sure, okay, independents and Green Party, sure, yeah. But really,
what about the Whig Party, Brian? The Whig Party.
The Whigs. God, I can't forget the Whigs.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, is that really just what we're going to see? Is this growing a wall of you're not going to get anything through if the other side has control, 0, zip, even if it might be a good idea, you're just not going to get it through because you're the other side, and attempts at impeachment in every administration.
Well, the not get anything through part is already that's a fixture.
I mean, that's been
forever.
that's been forever.
If you want to get something through, you either better control more than 2 branches of government. Well, control at least the House and the presidency, or at least the Senate and the House, or something. 2 of the 3 big ones,
right.
Or else you're screwed. But here's my feeling on what you just said. I think we'll actually dial way back on the impeachment stuff. But I don't see the partisanship stuff. That's not going to get any better. I mean, not in the near future. I hope it does. I hope there's a whole generation of new leaders that come up that are more interested in figuring out ways to get stuff done.
Yeah, maybe centric isn't the word, but that appeal to both sides. That's why I think maybe we just need to let's erase the whole party system, start over and say, what's wrong with this? Let's rebuild it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, parties are not in the Constitution. It's got nothing to do with anything. This is all made up by us. This isn't based on anything. So there's nothing in any of those sacred American documents that says there shall be 2 parties and then a couple of shitty ones outside of it that never win at anything, like the Green Party. We'll have that, and therefore man will only ever have 2 parties, so saith the Lord. It doesn't exist. We made parties up.
Right.
The parties
are made up. It's not in the Star Trek universe. There are no parties in the Star Trek universe.
That's right. The parties don't exist.
In that utopic society that we see Picard running around in.
That, or I understand the need to.
They're just lights. There are no parties.
Parties come from the need to organize, and I get that. So just more parties. Let's get away from this 2-party system, because I don't know. It feels like that would be at least closer to the idea of individualizing it instead of having it being party based. I don't know. Parties are weird. Parties are dumb. I haven't been to a party since March of last year.
They're super spreader events, Scott. That's what it is.
Is that what they're called now?
Shoot.
All right. Well. Yes. Also, hey, we got an email from Robert. We were talking about movies before the show, and we like to do it on the show because Brian and I happen to be big fans of movies.
Yes.
And you got this one from Robert, who says, as someone who was born in 1982, he's talking about movies that were like about your formative years or whatever. He says, my initial answer is Dazed and Confused. Now, he sent this before you heard us talk about Dazed and Confused. He says, which had a resurgence in popularity in my high school years, 1997 to 2000. While it was clearly written about teens in the 70s, us 90s kids really connected with it. I will tell you that 20-somethings in the 90s also connected with it because I really latched onto that movie for whatever reason. The actual clothing styles had come full circle, and they were relevant again. That's true. You guys dressed like a bunch of dirty 70s people in the 90s. The movie feeds the false nostalgic narrative that the good old days were better than they were in reality, often popular with angsty teens. A second answer is Empire Records. Excuse me, which hasn't come up yet. We haven't talked about Empire Records. I don't think.
Good old Rex Manning Day. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, remind me who's in that?
Liv Tyler.
John Cusack in that?
No, John Cusack. I want to say Ethan Embry.
Papa Giorgio.
Papa Giorgio. Yes. Shoot, who's the guy who's like the owner? Not Montenegro. What's that guy's name?
Robin Tunney.
Robin Tunney. Yeah, she's in there.
I can't think of anything else.
I mean, this
isn't the one where Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler and the other guy all like
that's
robbed a radio
not Metalheads. That's what is that? Airheads.
Oh, Airheads. Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah, Renee Zellweger. I forgot that actually Renee Zellweger. Of all the people in this thing who've really gone on to bigger careers, Zellweger is probably the
big.
The biggest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why? No, what am I thinking of with?
Airheads.
No. Before that, when I was saying John Cusack, what am I thinking of? It's a record store.
You're thinking of the about a boy. It was the
no.
High Fidelity.
High Fidelity.
Yeah.
That one I also see is
both of those movies written by Nick
Offerman. Nick Frost.
Nick Hornby.
I want Nick Frost to be the writer. Now I'm disappointed.
I do too. Nick Hornby. I've got the books in my bookcase. They're both excellent. Actually, he's done a bunch of great books, but High Fidelity and About a Boy and just really, really good stuff.
They had that show briefly, High Fidelity, on Hulu, and it had Zoe Kravitz in it.
Lenny Kravitz's daughter, Zoe Kravitz in it. Yeah,
it was all right.
I never saw it, but really, that's what I heard. It was really
got
good.
canceled because nobody watched it, but I thought it was all right. I mean, it seemed like this was like a more true to the book sort of experience.
Yeah.
Whereas the movie was a little
Except
more.
the main character was a dude.
Oh, in the book, is it a dude?
It's a dude, yeah. In the book.
Well, she's great because she was in Mad Max Fury Road. One of the wives of Immortan Joe. So there you have that.
There you go.
Her greatest work is behind her. All right, moving on. He says this. The actual Empire Records, about 20-somethings may not qualify. Then he said the chat room is not wrong when they say Can't Hardly Wait, which is a movie I had forgotten about. I think you give Clueless enough, or I don't think you give Clueless enough credit because it is another perfect answer to your question. Well, that's directed at me, and let me just say this about Clueless one more time.
Sure.
It's fine, okay? If we want to celebrate airheady girls, go ahead. That's fine. Let's go ahead and let's have a movie about a dumb girl. That's fun. Let's do that. Cher wasn't as much an airhead as much as she had different priorities until about halfway through the movie, and then got out of that. That's true, and that is the point of it, right? That's the journey.
Yeah.
There's a maturation there. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know why that one didn't ring for me. It was probably.
But no, I mean, because everything you see, like if you're shown a clip of Clueless, it's Alicia Silverstone being kind of doofy. It's like the first quarter of the movie when she's dressed in that matching tablecloth outfit, and she's worried about her. It's basically the Reese Witherspoon character from Legally Blonde.
I'm glad you said that, because right this second I was thinking, this is the problem. I conflate those two movies. Not that I confuse them with each other, but to me they're in the same vein. And I know they're not. They're not, right? They're not.
They're not. They're definitely not. Nope.
And they're making a new one of those, I heard. Is that the truth?
Oh, really?
Legally Blonde? I think so. Hold on. Legally Blonde 3. Because there's been... here it is. 2022. Yeah, this is happening. Reese
Still with
Witherspoon.
Reese.
She's in it. Alana Ubach and Jennifer Coolidge. I like those people.
Jennifer Coolidge bringing her.
Yeah, bringing her along, dragging her out again.
Stifler's mom making a turn. She is great. I mean, I love Jennifer Coolidge and all the Christopher Guest stuff, but
yeah, she's awesome.
She is.
She makes me really uncomfortable sometimes, though. I mean, it's because she's good at her characters.
It's like the Rebel Wilson kind of shtick.
Yeah, it's very good. She was also for a Seinfeld reference. She was the massage therapist that Jerry was trying to make her give him a massage all the time. And
was she really?
Yeah,
people
forget that was Jennifer Coolidge.
God, I completely forgot that was her.
But anyway, that's happening. So look forward to that. 2022, you guys. Mark it on your
calendar.
calendar.
Your seats now for Legally Blonde 3.
Yep. Coming soon.
Seats will remain available until showtime.
Yep. The only downside or the only nervous thing here is the director, Jamie Suck. Jamie Suck? Oh my gosh. S-U-K.
What?
Suck. Maybe it's
really?
Sook.
Okay.
Might be Sook. I don't know.
Maybe Sook. Sure.
They have made one short film and no theatrical films, and there is no picture of them, and we have no idea who that person is. So good luck with that. All right. Ryan?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go. Let's do some science today.
Yeah. I love this.
Yeah.
Boy, Thursdays has become the day to get educated, right?
I agree.
It's
almost by accident, because I didn't really think about it when we were doing it. Like, there's Wendy, then there's science.
We call it Legitimacy Thursday.
Yeah. As opposed to the old illegitimate Thursday we used to have.
Right,
here on
exactly,
the show.
yes.
All right,
here's Jury and Wendy. Holy cow. How do we know?
It's crazy. Here's a sounder for it.
I think science is cool.
I do too. And so here to help us with a scientific topic of the week is Bobby Franks, who joins us all the way from where he lives. I always want to say you're in California, but you're not.
You do, but it's South Carolina. Me and Dunaway are holding it down in the South, trying to keep things.
Why do I do that?
You're a California guy in a South Carolina town.
I've done this since the ANTP season you were on. Since before that, for whatever reason, you are in California somewhere in Van Nuys or something, and you live there. And you probably wearing shorts because it was 80 today or something. That's all.
Well, that's true anyway, because it's South Carolina. But
that's a good point. Well, you're holding it down good there. Well done. We need more good South Carolinians, and you're one of them. I don't know what that means.
I have something, something that you might find interesting, like a trivia. You were talking earlier in the show about putting people's lives end to end in the history of the United States.
Oh yeah, sure.
I just saw a YouTube video, a Vsauce video, where he pointed out that Harriet Tubman was alive during both Thomas Jefferson being alive and also Ronald Reagan.
Oh wow, that's a span.
Wow, that's crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, so if somebody just died today and they are 100 today, that means they were born in 1921, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So far, so good.
So if you think about the things everybody saw, if you were born in 21, the things you saw from, let's say, even just 10 years old, 31 and forward, that's a massive timeline of progression, change, technological jumps. That's just that's crazy.
I mean, we're going to be able to say the same thing. We saw the birth of the internet. We saw mobile phones become, something that was attached to the middle of your car and then taken out and then flipped open, but then now become the center of your life and the reason people fall off the sides of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, well, think about it. If you're in your 50s, you've been alive for 20% of our nation's life.
That's just insane to even say those
there
words.
We go. See, that's the way to look at this. That's cool.
That's weird. But I guess well, okay, so if you were... Oh, man, now my brain's going places. That's just, I don't know. I guess it just has a way of shrinking it all down.
Still calling it 2,500-year-old men.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that one. Yeah.
That's not bad. All right.
Which is the new show starring Charlie Sheen and John Cryer.
There you go. We're going to do a story today about something that isn't about COVID vaccines. It isn't about that sort of stuff.
Take a steer.
Instead, we want to look at cats. Why? Why cats today, Bobby? What's happening?
We like looking at cats.
Well, I just thought, I guess, we bring it down to earth. I don't know. We've been doing such serious stuff with COVID, and we'll have to touch base on that every once in a while, I suppose, because it's our life lately. But I was looking through, and also science news is pretty hard to find this time of year. Let's be honest. But I saw this news report that talked about that science research study that was done on the facial expressions of grumpy cats. I should say this like a morning show, right? Like, hey, Scott, have you heard of grumpy cats on the internet?
Well, hold on a second. After we talk to our weather guy, we'll be right back with more about these grumpy cats. Brian, have you heard of these?
I've heard of a grumpy cat. Are you saying there's more than one?
Well, that's the thing, right? Everybody, when you say grumpy cat, they all think of that one cat that finally died that was so popular or whatever, and now they got millions of dollars.
But grumpy cats in general, there are breeds of cats. They're like flat-faced cats are often referred to like grumpy breeds of cats. They all have that grumpy-looking face, and so there was some research that was done looking at the facial expression of these cats and looking into their ability to communicate with us with facial expressions and whether or not flat-faced breeds of cats have an impaired ability to do that. So what they did was they took thousands of cat face pictures that they just sourced on Google Images, and then a bunch of them that were in like neutral settings, supposedly neutral faces, and then they took a bunch of cat pictures of cat faces during surgery to have their uteruses removed.
Jeez, were they awake during that? What's the deal with that?
I think they were anesthetized at some point, but I guess their idea was they're probably going to have a pained face during this surgery.
Yeah.
So they reliably could say like, okay, these cats are in pain, and these ones are not.
They don't have a selection of faces on a piece of paper that they can circle to say, all right, how bad is the pain right now? Is it this squished face or this squished face?
Well, so what you're saying to me, because I've never thought of a cat as very expressive anyway. So if there's like my daughter's cat, Deckard Kane, upstairs, whenever he sees me or looks me in the face, I don't know what he wants. I can't tell. There's no difference to me than him saying, I'm hungry, to I just want to be in here because the dog's around and I want to tease the dog or whatever. I don't know that. Yeah. I can't tell the difference anyway. And so you're saying these cats are even less expressive than that.
Right, so cats are actually very expressive, and even just in their face. It's just that humans have a very hard time interpreting a cat's facial expressions. There's actually been research done on that particular topic as well. The more people who have a lot of interaction with a lot of different kinds of cats, so say like veterinarians, they score pretty well on being able to identify cat facial expressions, but most people cannot do very well at all. But they have like a dozen different facial expressions that are pretty easily uniquely categorized to express how they're feeling on their face. It's just hard for us to interpret those.
That's interesting. So these flat-faced cats are they're hosed because
right. Well, the pained expression in a cat actually is that kind of like squished, is kind of a squished face. Like the features of the face kind of go inward toward the middle of the face, and then the cheeks go broad out. So basically, like the way a flat-faced cat looked. And so what they did was they analyzed all these, and they found out that the variation between normal cats and their pained expression. Normal. I shouldn't say. I'm sorry to all the flat-faced cats out there.
Yeah. The abnormalization.
Just because that cat has squishy resting face doesn't mean.
Sorry. I'm about to be canceled right now. I know.
You can feel it. We got cat lovers, man. You can feel it.
So the variation between flat-faced cats like Persian cats, for example, or non-flat-faced cats like an Egyptian long-featured cat.
Sure.
Is much less in the flat-faced cats. and it just means that we have a even harder time distinguishing and being able to tell, at least when these cats are in pain, but probably their facial expressions in general.
So I always thought, or I thought I heard, and I could be wrong, but I thought the whole thing with the Grumpy Cat, was that cat had a form of, I forget what they called it. It may have been like sort of someone compared it to like if cats could have Down syndrome or you know, a condition where your face is in particular is a sign of the thing that you've got, like some chromosomal thing. That's what that was, and that's different though than what you're talking about, right? That's a whole separate bag of chips.
Well, Grumpy Cat's expression was like extreme, right? It had like the angry looking eyes and the downturned mouth and stuff like that.
Pronounced
I
frown,
think
yeah.
if I remember correctly, that the Grumpy Cat had feline dwarfism, and that caused that.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, leave it to me to jump to 5 other things that weren't the actual thing. That's me. That's what I do here. It's very scientifically
yeah, I mean,
proven.
Persians have that kind of permafrown just because of the shortness of their face, you know.
Yeah, it's just kind of smushed in. And so there's a reason that I wanted to bring this up, and that I think it's important that we talk about it, and it's because serious, everyone. It's because I can't hold a straight face. Is because we give cats a lot of crap for not being emotive like dogs. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
And the
technically,
fact
they
is-
give us a lot of crap as well, but keep going.
But that's true. But the fact is, we have selectively bred these cats to be the way that they are. So how much of an injustice is it that we selectively breed cats to have harder to read expressions, and then we turn around and give them crap for it? And then I just think we all need to be nicer to cats.
Wow, look at that. I hadn't thought about that. That's our fault. 'Cause-
Solution to the problem.
Yeah,
Let's
we
be
do this
nicer
with
to
pets.
cats.
All pets are basically like hundreds of years of evolution, or maybe thousands of years of maybe more than that of evolution, and we crammed it all into like 50 years of turning a fox into a freaking dog, you know?
Right.
And it was like, oh, this cat looks funny. Let's make more of them.
Yes, right, exactly. Let's reward them for this behavior, and all of a sudden it becomes like a predisposition because we're kind of training them to do certain things.
I get the most angry email yesterday. It's funny you're bringing all this up because I have some in-laws who breed. I forgot the breed of the dog, but they breed these dogs, and they're very expensive, very sought after dogs. I want to say they go for like $3-4 grand a piece when they're all done, and they've made 2 big breeds of it so far. And somebody caught wind on a show. I don't even know what show I mentioned it on, but I mentioned they do this. All 3 of our dogs, the 3 dogs in our house right now, are all rescues. But I mentioned this, and I got the most angry email about breeding. Like, I guess nobody wants breeders now. That's a bad thing, right? Yeah, I guess they were super pissed. And I think it's because some people, well, these people in particular were like, look, there's no shortage of dogs who need homes in shelters and otherwise, you know, bad situations. So why would you go breed a bunch of dogs and spend $3,000-$4,000 on that dog to, instead of doing this, which will save an animal, and instead you got to have your little fancy animal or whatever. That was kind of their take. And I don't know why they're going after me, because A, I'm not breeding the dogs, and B, I don't know what B is. There's no B. I don't have a B.
There's no step 3.
There's no step 3.
Yeah.
We're 2.
I don't know how I feel about breeders in general, but I think that particular argument maybe isn't great. Because, I mean, how else could you, don't buy this, instead buy that, because the extra money you're spending could be going to charity. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
it gets messy. It gets messy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nobody wants messy, unless you're a cat. All right.
Although you like it messy.
Actually, this is another thing about cats that piss me off. Most cats are fine. Whatever. I like cats. They're fine. But Deckard Kane, the cat who lives upstairs, he, unlike every other cat I've ever known, every cat I've known, when they use their litter box, they attempt to bury what they just made. Okay? That's the point of a litter box, is not just to have a place to do it, but a place to cover it as well. That's why it's loose.
Right.
So
cats are one of only 2 species on Earth that cover their poop.
Right. And so you would think, given that notoriety of a cat being one of the 2 species in the world that covers its poop, that this cat would cover its poop. But I'm here to tell you that Deckard Cain, the cat, does not cover his poop ever. He goes in, lays a trunk, and then walks away as if someone else is going to do
He's
it.
the equivalent of the frat boy that calls everybody in to check out the size of the dookie he just left in the upstairs toilet.
I mean, you may not be wrong. There's another kitty in the house right now, temporarily, long story, but maybe he wants to show off to that cat, but he will not bury his poo. Meanwhile, I got this spastic freaking min pin Italian Greyhound mix, Rainer, the female dog, who I take outside all the time, and when she peeps or poops, she'll do it, and then she'll walk 8 feet, and then she'll start kicking the ground as if she's burying it in the wrong direction, 5 feet from where it was. If she's got this built-in weird broken initiative, but the cat doesn't. Like, what's wrong with this cat?
Is Deckard the Maine Coon?
Yes, it is a Maine Coon.
It's funny that you bring up Maine Coons, because in this study they were like the aberrant animal that did not match any of the other correlations in the study.
They're
so maybe
almost
it's
not
just
a cat.
in general. Yeah, maybe they're just not cat-like.
Maine Coons are dicks, is what I'm saying. That's what we're getting to.
Yeah.
And my daughter loves that cat, but she says that while it scratches her, while she's covering up a poo that he didn't cover. Like, she has the patience of Job. Is that the right guy? He's the biblical guy that had all the patience, right?
Yeah, he's the one who's known for patience. Yeah.
All right. They were all waiting in the waiting room. Just he would see so many on a
That's
regular
right.
Monday.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
The waiting room.
Yeah, there you go.
The waiting room.
Hey, well, this is great. I would like to hear more science things, and it turns out you have a podcast that does just that. Why don't you tell people what it is and where to get it?
Yeah, you can hear me every Monday. We put out All Around Science. That's my science podcast. Me and my co-host Maura, we talk about science news and just generally science topics, and it's a lot of fun. It's less like the science podcast you get out there, which kind of like dryly report the science news and are boring.
Yeah.
And ours is very entertaining, and that's why you should be listening to it.
Nice.
So.
I like it. Throw a little shade on the other science podcasts and promote your own. This is the way to do it. This is the way I work. Back when
I heard that's how marketing works.
That's when I started the instance. I did a lot of talk like that. Like, yeah, all these other shows suck. I'm going to make my own. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you do with TMS, right?
Yeah. Morning
It's
shows
the
suck.
answer to morning radio.
Yeah, but we're punching down. No, we're punching up, right?
Right,
Because the
right.
radio stations are still, big. And so Brian and I are punching up when we say that.
We're punching
And
down.
so are
As
you.
long as you're doing that.
Yeah, as long as you're punching up, everything's fine. It's Bobby Franks, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us today, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Bye. I like that segment. It's fun.
It is. It's great. It's a cool new addition to the family.
It's a rare
Continue
thing we
this
do
way.
on this show is add new content. So what we're saying, Bobby, is you have our addresses, and we require minimum payments. Just kidding.
Tithe. I think we call it tithe.
Oh, is it a tithe? Okay,
It's
10%
tithe,
of
yes.
your earnings. All right,
Yes,
let's get here to this right here. We're gonna do some news, and it's brought to you by.
Yes, Graham Mcpherson is turning 60, actually turned 60 yesterday. Born in Hastings, Sussex, England, but you don't know him as Graham Mcpherson. You know him as Suggs. He's the lead singer, is telling you about his house in the middle of the street, or It Must Be Love, or his baggy trousers, or One Step... Whoop, hold on, let's do this right. One Step Beyond!
Wow.
Anyway. Lead singer of Madness, and to celebrate his 60th birthday, we're going to be celebrating with some covers of and by Madness today on Coverville, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, twitch.tv/Coverville.
Clark Axe has never heard of these songs. That's why you need to be there, because this is like new stuff. This is
What?
be introduced.
You're in the UK and you don't know Madness?
They don't get Madness where they live in the
House
UK, Brian.
in the middle of our street, our house. That was where we used to sleep.
I think
Oh,
that-
she's saying she's kidding. Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, that'll teach us. Never read the chat room, I guess.
Yeah,
That's the
don't
lesson
believe.
there.
Don't believe everything the chat room says because you don't know.
Nope, you have no idea. All right, let's move on to this Florida man story. We've had a few of those this week.
Florida man.
You could argue January's been all about a certain Florida man.
You could.
Also, isn't it illegal to live in your business in Florida? I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll get into it. Florida man accused of setting his own truck on fire to give deputies something to do.
Nice. Good.
Right?
You guys look bored. Let me give you something to do.
Yeah, what are y'all doing over there? Nothing? How about this?
You got time to lean, you got time to clean.
That's right. My mom used to say those words.
Yeah, that was Taco Bell mantra from Jan, the manager in her polyester suit.
Yeah. Jan. Why is that familiar? Polyester suit and someone named Jan. Why is that ringing a bell?
Probably the Brady Bunch. I don't know.
You know what? Maybe.
That show featured a person named Jan and polyester suits.
Marsha. All right. A Florida man set his own truck aflame. He wanted to give deputies something to do, according to the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office. Okaloosa.
Sure.
Deputies said they received reports of a loud explosion on Mare Creek Road. They found a 2002 Chevrolet Silverado fully engulfed in flames. Let me take this as a reminder to go watch 1984's Silverado. It is a fantastic film. Great movie. One of my favorite Westerns.
Sure.
When authorities arrived on the scene, 28-year-old Kevin Murphy. Why is that name familiar? Kevin Murphy. Is that one Britney Spears' boyfriend or something?
There's an actor named Kevin Murphy, isn't?
Kevin Murphy.
Why is he? Oh no, Kevin. Who's the kid who was on Entourage? Was his name Kevin Murphy, the actor?
I don't know. I never watched Entourage. Is that bad? Is that a thing I should go back to, Brian? Did I miss out not seeing Entourage?
No.
Okay. That's a thing in time, and it stood for what it was, and that's I can just leave it. I don't need to.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
Yeah,
not
you
like
can-
The Sopranos,
you can skip
where
that.
that's awesome and everyone should see it. It's not like that.
Oh,
Okay.
Kevin Murphy is the voice and puppeteer of Tom Servo on Mystery Science Theater.
That's
3000.
it. I knew it was
That's
familiar.
that's why you know it. Yep.
Oh. Okay. Anyway, this guy, not that Kevin Murphy, different
Not
Kevin
that
Murphy.
guy. No, different guy.
He was placed in handcuffs, and when deputies searched him, they said they found a glass pipe that was used to smoke methamphetamine,
Oh, well,
blue ice.
really? There's a wrinkle to this story I didn't see coming.
Weird. Said they had that in his pocket, had a folded up dollar bill with traces of meth in his wallet. So he had $1 on him. When questioned, Murphy said he wanted something for the sheriff's office to do, and he wanted to give himself an early Christmas present, so he set his truck on fire. Records show Murphy claimed he poured gas inside the Chevy's cab and then under the truck, and then created a trail away from the vehicle to set the fire, just like some kind of cartoon. Oh, that's funny, because I just did a GIF about this, Chad. I'm going to show you guys. Hold on. I just did this yesterday while I was watching Looney Tunes. So it's Bugs Bunny with one of those trails, and then he poofs it out there at the end.
Love that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's good.
By the way, can I tell you why my head went to the kid on Entourage?
Of course.
The actor's name is Kevin Connolly. He played a character named Eric Murphy.
Oh my gosh, really?
He was a Kevin who played a Murphy, which is why
That's great.
why I went there.
That's great. I love
You
that
know,
kind of stuff.
if there's two reasons to watch Entourage, and if neither of these appeal to you, then you can just keep skipping it. But Jeremy Piven as Ari Gold is one of the great TV characters created.
Is he just like all the other Jeremy Piven roles, or is it a different
He's
kind
kind of a lot like the other Jeremy Piven roles, but a lot darker.
Okay. All right.
And it's it's where you get the first taste of an Aquaman movie directed by James Cameron that never came to be.
Is that really? I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, there was the movie within a movie, or the movie within a TV series was James Cameron's Aquaman.
There's probably some YouTube thing I could look at. I'll bet.
Easily.
Maybe I'll do that.
Yep. All right. Anyway,
Where the hell was I?
back to meth Kevin Murphy and his setting his truck on fire.
Deputies said no one was injured, but the fire did cause damage to nearby vehicles and buildings. This is according to the Dorcas Fire Department.
Yes,
Dorcas.
It's
Dorcas, but that's how you say that. So
definitely yes. Exactly.
take that, you weirdos.
And it's sister county Mallorcas. Because you can't say Dorcas without Mallorcas.
Killing me. That was too funny. That was good. Murphy's facing charges of second-degree arson, possession of methamphetamine, and possession of drug paraphernalia, and being so dirt poor he only had $1. All right. Moving on, here's a Starbucks story. Sometimes you'll go to Starbucks, right? Once in a while.
Yeah, maybe about once every couple of weeks. I usually go there to get ground coffee for the French press, and if I'm there, I'll pick up an almond milk latte or something.
Well, if you're ever feeling litigious, apparently you can bring some pretty silly lawsuits against that company.
Sweet, I'm all over it.
The Starbucks gift card lawsuit spills into arbitration. The dispute started at a WeHo Starbucks. I don't know what WeHo means.
West Hollywood. WeHo.
Oh, West Hollywood. Is that what they call themselves? WeHo?
Yeah, like South Houston Street is Soho. Like all these.
WeHo.
We have the Rhino District, which is the River North.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What do we have like that? I don't have anything cool like that. Let me think about it.
SoCal is kind of like that.
We call it the 801.
There you go. That's good too.
Well, technically, that band that you played on the show called it that, and so now
they
I call
called it that. But now you guys call it.
I love it. I think ever since I heard that song, which is a fantastic song, and I got super hooked on that band as a result.
Yeah.
I do it all the time now. So people are like, "Were you born there?" Oh yeah, born and raised in the 801. I'll say. Yeah. I love that. Anyway, where is it here? Oh. So here's the deal. You're going to laugh because this is so stupid. A lawsuit filed by a man alleges Starbucks Corporation in 2019 wrongfully denied him $1.70 cash redemption from the balance of his gift card in one of its West Hollywood stores. Was put on hold by a judge Wednesday due to a dispute whether the matter should be resolved in arbitration or not. Robert Paskey brought the suit into the Los Angeles Superior Court on March 12th, 2020, seeking compensatory and punitive damages, as well as a court order that Starbucks provide cash redemptions for gift cards having a balance of less than $10. So basically, it boils down to this: he went in there, had $1.70 left on his card. They wouldn't give him cash equivalent for it. They said you got to use it for the thing.
When you buy a gift card, it's not the same as cash. You've given that store money in exchange for the promise of having that amount to spend at their store. Not, I'll spend half of it at the store and get the rest back in cash, please. No, that's not how it works.
No, it's not how it works. But I can't believe he's doing this. So he's trying to get, it doesn't say how much he wants. I guarantee it's more than $1.70.
Yeah,
should
but
just
it is.
throw
And he
this
wants
out.
$1.70 plus all of his court costs, right? His lawyer fees.
Yeah, F off. F right off with your card with $1.70 on it.
Douche nozzle.
A-hole. That's like half a coffee. You're going to get another one anyway.
Right. Just buy a coffee and apply the balance to the coffee and you're done.
Yeah, what were you going to do with the $1.70?
What the hell?
Are you going to go, give it to me in quarters? I got to get to the arcade. This is an injustice.
Right, how much is a cake pop? Oh, too much. How much is biscotti? Oh, too much. How much is
How much is that? I don't know. What else do you even get there? Just buy a coffee. That's why you were there. Oh, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed by this guy. I don't even know him, and I'm mad.
Can I buy a new gift card?
Yeah.
With that?
$1.70 gift card. Yeah. Anyway, other Starbucks stores in California have the same practice, and the writing on the back of the company's cards states that the gift cards are not redeemable for cash. So once again, these are the terms of service to which you are obliged to follow. Quit pretending the government is censoring you, and quit pretending your card is important at $1.70.
And I'm guessing because it was a $10 gift card, I'm guessing it's not something he bought himself. Like, I don't see him walking to Starbucks, let me buy a $10 gift card. This is probably something that was included with a Christmas present or an office bonus or something like that.
Yeah.
That, and he wants the cash.
Yep.
It's like, take it up with the person who bought it.
You know what I would have done if I was the barista at the counter? I think I would have just pulled $1.70. I would have pulled $2 out of my pocket and said, "Keep the change and freaking get out of here." Is what I would have done.
Yeah.
You can still have the gift card. Here's the money if you're so worried about it. Save everybody.
Technically, that's what he was asking for, but yeah. But he wanted the company to give him money, not the nice barista Scott.
Exactly.
Who always gets his name wrong every time he goes in there for a half calf double foam extra hot.
I'll have
mocha caliente, whatever.
I will have a grande iced mocha frappuccino.
That's right.
And some lettuce.
Because he's a turtle. See?
Because he's a turtle.
Yeah.
That's the joke. Yeah.
That's the joke. He's like a turtle man. Very well done.
Yeah, Bobby, why does Mitch McConnell have that grumpy cat face? Because there's something. Is he in pain?
Yeah, is that
Tell
genetic? Is that have we bred that into him? What's going on with that face?
That's right.
I love that. All right, let's move on to. We have one. Yeah, we got time for one more story. Molly's futuristic robot kitchen assistant can cook up to 5,000 recipes from scratch.
Yeah.
Look at this thing.
I saw that thing. Look at that.
Do you want one?
No.
Okay. I feel like I might.
Close to Rosie. I mean, we're getting pretty close to having Rosie, but
Chat room, there's a photo for you. That thing is pretty gnarly.
Yeah, you know where I saw that thing? I think I remember seeing that in it was called GLaDOS.
Right. She was telling you to go jump through some walls while she made
Exactly,
food.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Cake is a lie. There's a whole thing on here, but I'll basically just give you the rundown. At the they displayed, this company, Molly Robotics, displayed the world's first automated robotic kitchen at CES 21, which is happening, well, just is ending now. Mm-hmm. System features a dexterous robot integrated into a luxury kitchen that prepares freshly cooked meals at the touch of a button and even does the dishes a short time later. At the heart of the new tech are two robotic arms, fully articulated, with hands that make the cooking process more flexible. Molly Robotics created these two arms in partnership with Shuck Company. That's a weird name. The upper arms are said to be able to reproduce the movements of the human arms quite precisely. I don't know how this isn't practical.
I'm watching it try to stir some rice, and it's all clumsy. Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make a note here. Huge success.
Yeah, huge success. Well done. I get the reference. It's very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So if you want a robotic kitchen, CES 21 found it for you. It's Molly Robotics.
Can it make risotto? Yeah. That's the question.
Yeah. And I'm sure this is super cheap, like cost barely a dime.
Oh, yeah. It's something like 30,000 to 55,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So whatever that translates to.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And what are you supposed to do? Like, this thing looks like it just takes up so much of your kitchen. I mean, it's hanging from the ceiling, but, you know, I mean, it doesn't know you're right next to it when it's swinging that knife around after chopping some celery.
Yeah, this needs to have like proximity sensors and stuff so that you don't die. Also, it knowing where all these ingredients are all based on where the ingredients are. So if you mix it up and put, salt where the sugar should be.
Exactly.
This thing's not going to know. I think it
puts, that beef stroganoff doesn't look good. And then they just like dump this robot dumps the rice into a thing. Like it's right there in the video. You can watch this robot dump the rice into a thing.
There are many flavors you could get.
Away from the DiGiorno.
Oh, it's so stupid. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, my sister Wendy will be here. We're going to do a little Therapy Thursday. She's got a great topic, and we're going to discuss it. Come on back for that. Before that, though, a musical break with Brian Ibbott's selection of music from his music selection. Brian.
So when I see a song come across my desk, an indie musician song sent to me, and it's called Creep, I think, oh, is it a cover of the Radiohead song? No. Oh, is it a cover of the TLC song? Nope. Okay. So it's immediately I'm thinking, oh, another song now called Creep? Like we needed another one? But then I listened to it, and I got to say, I'm hooked. This is performed by Sydney Sherwood. She's got a brand new EP coming out called Headspace, comes out at the end of February. And this is the first single from it. It's created by Jared Dillon of Red 13 Studios, and this first single off of her EP, as I mentioned, produced and co-written by Brian Craddock, who's the guitarist of Daughtry, the band Daughtry, named after the guy Daughtry from American Idol. This thing is great. It's a really, really good song. So I'm all right with another Creep. Let's bring it on. Sydney Sherwood from her brand new album Headspace. Here is Creep.
Schick's Auto Home Power Shave has two cords, one for home, one for the car. So now, wherever you are, you're only a cord's length away from a perfect shave.
I don't know how they did that, but I liked it.
This is the Morning Stream.
favorite of the Fletchers. Personally. Here it is.
Had the greatest Christmas card this year. Like all his whole family in a Zoom call.
So brilliant. That was great, and I loved it in the web browser part up top.
Yeah, how to zoom,
and like that was a really clever thing they did. That was great.
Really was, yes.
Very well done, Mr. Fletcher. I want to know if that was his idea, her idea, a combination of both, or if the kids had anything to do with it. That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Both he and Christine have such a great sense of humor that easily could have been either or both.
That's true. Scott Fletcher has one of those cat faces. Until he smiles, you don't know if he's mad at you or not.
Oh, I know. Yes, it's he's got bitchy resting face. Bitchy resting face Fletcher is what we call him.
I also have it. My daughter has it. My sister Wendy does not have it. She has helpful person face. When she's resting, people see her and go, "Do you work here? Do you know where the pots and pans are in the Walmart?"
Well, she shouldn't go into a Best Buy wearing a blue T-shirt and khakis.
Yeah,
never do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Or to a Target.
Yeah.
By the way, really quickly, for those of you who haven't found out yet, the pinball festival in Texas that we were planning on going to, for obvious reasons, has been canceled and pushed to 2022. But we still have our reserved room and flight and all that stuff for it. So plan on it.
Yeah, I think by then maybe things will be great, and I would love to go to that thing. That would be awesome. Yeah. But before
everyone expected it, but we decided to let's make it official and make sure people know.
Seems about right.
Everyone knows it's windy.
Welcome to the program, my sister, but more importantly, a therapist and someone who comes on the show every Thursday and helps us out with our own problems. Wendy, welcome back.
Hi, you with your own problems?
Yeah, we got our own problems. Speaking of problems, man, tomorrow's a weird day because our mother, my mother, your mother, our mother, is going in to get major surgery. She's having brain surgery, although the surgery is to remove something that isn't necessarily in her brain or on her brain. It is pushing on her brain, but it's coming from the outside in, from her skull. And our mom is not a spring chicken these days. She's 82 years old, and tomorrow she gets the surgery and also about 5 days of in-hospital recovery and then probably some home assisted stuff. But I've been trying to find out what's going on, but I don't even think they're going to let us see her, like, at all. Mm-hmm. So it sucks. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm trying to think what I can do, and there's really, I mean, what can I do? I can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, Tina's dad has been having chemo, or finished up his chemo treatments right at the end of the year last year, and had to go to all those alone. Like, we couldn't go with him, his wife couldn't go with him. Like, he just basically had to sit in the chair alone, which sucks.
That does suck. So I don't know. Not that that's today's topic, but I don't know if I've ever felt quite this useless, in a situation like this, because normally in a normal time, all of us would be taking tomorrow off. We would all be at the hospital, arriving with her, signing her in, talking to her before they wheel her off. Like, we would be having all of these things, and we can't do it. It's just dumb. It's dumb. I hate it.
It is dumb.
It is dumb. And I mean, I would be there, and I told Misha, I said, well, if things go south, I'll get on a plane, but I need someone to tell me. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we got to keep.
And then I can only see her if she's dying, because then I'm gonna get her COVID. It's such a
right.
I hate it.
It's so effed up. And my biggest thing I'm trying not to do. There's a tendency. Maybe today's a little about this. So you tell me if this leads into that or not. But there is a feeling I have of, when I think about, okay, we can't see her, we can't do this, I get very resentful that we, as a people, as a nation, couldn't be better at this. Well, plenty of other countries in similar situations in terms of population and everything else did do this. So why couldn't we freaking do this and do it much earlier, so that not just me, but hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people affected by just stuff, like my mom's thing, like someone having a heart attack, like somebody fell down the stairs, like whatever it may be, that we could at this stage be with them. Like, we could have done it, but we didn't freaking do it. And so part of me wants to blame everybody who didn't try very hard. And obviously that's going to get me zero distance any direction. Like I'm not going to get anywhere with that kind of feeling in my guts. But it's hard not to. It's hard not to feel that way. You know, we tried really hard. We still are. We're still being like ridiculously careful, constantly turning people down for like, you know, all of Kim's friends, their little flock of friends are like, we should have girls' night. We'll mask up and go to this place that has nice airy room in it. And Kim's like, no, I've got a grandson. I got stuff. I don't want to. I'm not going. Scott's mom's about to get brain surgery. We're not going because we don't know what that looks like yet. Like we're still being good and everybody's not, and it makes me mad. So anyway, does that lead to our discussion, Wendy, or no?
Oh. Actually, let me say this though, and maybe this is like my inner chipper silver lining part of me, but she, and maybe it's because I spent twice in my child rearing experience, I got 2 kids with birth defects that were the best version of a birth defect you can get, and I think Mom has the best brain tumor you can get. Yeah. And maybe I got to stop doing that, but it really is. It's one of those slow growing. The only reason it got discovered is because she started to have some effects from, it's the size of an orange, pushing on her brain, which is kind of insane that the brain can just sort of compensate for that long while something grows in there. That's crazy.
Well, because the doctor said like 12 years this thing has been growing or something?
Yeah, I think it's more than that, but yeah. And there's a type of tumor that is like that. It's just so slow, and you just wouldn't know it's there until there's some kind of effect from it, you know?
Right.
My sister-in-law had a similar type of brain tumor, but it was in a very different place. So it was very problematic, but it's similarly not cancerous and then slow growing. And they think she probably had it as a child. And then it sort of started causing problems at 26. So yeah, I mean, that sounds dumb, but I'm glad it's that. And
I guess I am too. Yeah. Like that's the other thing you have to force yourself to do in all of this is go, well, you think I have it bad, and then just look around you. Like there were people in way harder situations, whether it's this sort of thing or somebody with full blown all inside their brain cancer and they're 32 and have 4 little babies that they can't take care of now. Like there's a lot worse situations out there, and I'm trying to remember that all the time. And then I'll look over at Kim and she's upset and crying because her sister has stage 4 cancer and is now dealing with all of that stuff. And another reason for her to be careful because she needs to be around in case something goes south. But here's the thing. If something does go south, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, do I run over to St. Mark's Hospital, where I think I was born, by the way? That's a weird thing. Where they're doing the surgery, and do I just go over there and demand to see my mom? Or like, what do I do? I can't, right? They'll just say, sir.
I don't know. And I don't know what people have. I mean, the other aspect of coming in at this stage of the game with COVID is hospitals. I mean, if they're not overrun, which is happening everywhere, they have protocols and ways to do things maybe differently than at first, right? At first it was, I mean, before we knew it wasn't as contagious on surfaces, right? Mm-hmm. And other factors, and like nurses wearing garbage bags because they didn't have protective gear. I mean, we're at a different stage in that regard. So I would assume they'd have some type of, here's the protocol. You can come in and say whatever, goodbye. But that can't happen because I have a 3-hour flight. So you just stay on top of it, Scott, and let me know.
Yeah, I will. I don't know. I assume we have to rely on, I wish I had direct contact with the doctors themselves. Maybe I need to figure out a way to finagle that, because right now John's the keeper of the crypt, right? Like he's my lair, and that's it's not a great lair. It's kind of a rickety, got some holes in it.
89-year-old lair.
Yeah, an 89-year-old lair. He doesn't have a tumor, but boy, does he have a rumor. I couldn't find a good word that rhymes. But anyway, the point is, he's a little hard to deal with when it comes to that. So I'd like to get a little less filtered view on it, and maybe between Misha and I, we can figure that out today. But I don't know. Anyway, it's one of those things. But you had texted me last night and said, hey, what if we talked about this idea, this problem that we have as human beings, that other people's experiences aren't valid or real or aren't happening unless we are experiencing them.
or have had experience.
Or
with
yes,
that. Yeah.
exactly. Or have had some sort of experience with it. It's kind of like, I always think of this. I know this is morbid, and I apologize for bringing it up again because I think it makes me look kind of stupid. But when I see a movie or a cartoon, let's say, because I've just been watching a bunch of old Looney Tunes to kind of make me feel like I'm a kid again. And when somebody gets their head cut off, my first thought isn't, that's funny, their head was cut off. My first thought is, I wonder if people whose family members have had their heads cut off can't watch this. Do you know what I mean? Like if let's say you're somebody who had a journalist or an American contractor in the Middle East, and they were grabbed by ISIS, and they were in one of those beheading videos or something. Horrible, horrible thing, right? Can they ever? That can never be. That's funny. In this Halloween movie, a guy got his head lopped off, or ho ho ho. Somebody made a video that made it look like they're holding a severed head in the air, but it was just a camera trick, and like that's gone for them, right? Like that disembodied humor that can't be had for them anymore because it's immediately 100% associated with a real life horrific tragedy for them. And I always think about that when I see that, even though I've not had anybody I know have their heads taken off. There's just something about it. Or even if you just hear like an old movie and the Queen goes off with their heads, all you can do is go, well, there's another movie I can never watch again. I don't know. I always think about that. Sorry. That's a little bit of a side note about mine.
Yeah, no, it's very much related, right? Because there's a level of empathy that we all, okay, so everybody listening is like, oh, Scott and Wendy's mom is getting brain surgery. If they like us at all, if they don't, what are you doing here, by the way? But if they like us at all, go save yourself some time. Yeah. If they like us at all, they are feeling some empathy, probably, right? Like, oh, that's sad, or that's hard, or something, you know?
Right.
Or they're like, oh, that's rough. You know, it doesn't have to be in deep. They don't have to have had a mother with a brain tumor for them to then like get it, right?
Right.
So there's some of that. But notice the key word here was that they like us. Mm-hmm. So if they didn't like us, let's say I'm not going to name any names, but I'm a person that they don't like.
Okay.
And I'm like, my mom has a brain tumor and what does a troll say? What does somebody who's trying to harm me think? Or, you know what I mean?
They'd go, cry more, lib.
Yeah, you libtard. That's exactly what they would do.
Yeah.
So, for example, so you got to. So here's the thing that's the conundrum for me as I'm trying to wrap my head around a few things. First of all, let me just say I keep saying storming the castle when I mean to say storming the Capitol. That keeps happening.
Wow. All right.
And I also keep doing like this weird giggling thing, like I'm doing it right now. Where I am talking about sort of horrible things. I think it's because like every single client, we have to have a conversation about how they're feeling and are they safe and where do they live and, you know, that kind of stuff. Or people out of the country who are like really scared when they watch what happens here because, you know, a giant doesn't walk around and not rumble the ground, right? And so when the giant is a hot mess, it's scary for everybody, right?
Right.
So anyway, I'm spending a lot of time in these conversations and I've just taken to giggling and it's very weird, adaptive, maybe not so adaptive.
Is it working though? Like you feel like it's a coping mechanism that's actually...
It's not like I'm giggling at the top, like as I'm anything specific. It's just like we have a conversation, then I just start laughing. It's weird. Anyway, everyone's worried about me now and you should be. But anyhow, that idea though of like, what is the deal when you can't watch somebody else behaving in a particular way and relate to it at all? What do? Well, if you like them or already feel connected in some way, so maybe it's you share a similar element of a tribe together. Our brains do these really interesting things where they make excuses for, so for example, if you listen to any of the Republicans yesterday talking.
Oh, at the trial thing, yeah.
There is a common theme. They would say something sort of like, "Oh, this is terrible," and then they'd use the word "but," and then they would say whatever else they were going to say. And if you're listening to that, and they're your tribe, you're like, "Right, exactly." There's those other things. I mean, yes, it is horrible, but also, you know, like you're just going to relate to what they're saying or doing because they're matching maybe your already established belief, or they look like you or remind you of somebody, or like your connection there, right? They're the party that you like or whatever. And then the others just sound crazy. And then vice versa. So there's this thing that occurs. So we've spent time on the show before talking about the sort of biological imperative to belong to a group, and to feel safe that way. But I want to take it away from politics, because that's just low-hanging fruit, really.
Sure.
And towards like us individually, when we are interacting with others around, and especially online, right? Because your connection is so spread thin. It's basically you follow them. That's the only connection you actually have.
Right.
But there's a perception that there's obviously a lot more. A measure, like they don't know you. Let's say you're following somebody famous or whatever, but you are like aware of what they did on Tuesday, and you know what they ate for dinner, and you know stuff about their life. So there's this connection and these things that happen. But then something occurs and you don't get it. So do you guys have an example? Actually, let's work from something practical. Okay. Do you have an example where you just don't get why someone has done something? Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be super dramatic. And it is based on the fact that you've never had that experience. It could be,
I mean, it's hard because
I'm trying to think of something innocent.
Right. Yeah. The last couple of weeks, it's hard right now.
It's hard
to do
to
it
think
because,
about something that's not in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Right.
I'm sure I got something here. Well, actually, I do have a practical one that's happening right now. He'll probably be mad at me for telling the story. I don't know if he would or not, but Nick's about to move, right? He's moving your direction. Oh. And it's happening on the 21st, and we're getting all prepped. Everything's going fine and everything else. But there is this matter of his lease. He can't just get out of his lease on his apartment. He has to get someone else to take it, to buy the lease. And if not, he has to just pay as if he lived there. So it's just one of those contracts. He can't just get out of it. And so as a result, he's had to, put stuff up on Facebook and other places where people post these sorts of things and say that, apartment's available, it can do showings whenever you need, blah, 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 let me know. And he was just really sort of slow to get that done. Just really like, I'll get to it. I will. It's like a month ago. I was like, I'll do it. Whatever. Like even already as it is, he's already he paid for January because he had to, and he's not even there right now. He's in our basement getting ready to move. And so, but didn't seem like he was in that big of a hurry to also be ready for February so that when he moved, he didn't have to pay for yet another month. And he's just sort of like, I'll work it out. It'll be fine. Like, bud, you don't have that much money to do this. You can't just pay double rent across the country for no reason. And it just didn't. So for me, this thing you're asking about is this weird disconnect he has with, it's fine, Dad, I'll take care of it. And then me seeing that he's just not taking care of it. Like it's just hanging out there and it's not going to solve itself. And really it only takes a few simple moves like re-up the post on Facebook, make sure you put it up do the Craigslist listing that we talked about, make sure you put it up on your Instagram because you got a lot of followers there, a lot of local ones, and blah, 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 like all this easy stuff to do. And he just thought, I fell asleep last night. I forgot to do it. I'll do it today. I didn't do it today. I promise, Mom. I am doing it, Mom. I promise. That like that stuff is maybe not exactly what you're looking for, but to me, that stuff seems easy. And I cannot for the life of me understand why he just can't do it.
Aversion to just doing it.
Yeah. And I'm not going to make him because he wants to be treated like an adult and I want him to behave like one. And I also think it's important not to bail him out because that's the last thing you should do for your kids is bail them out of things that they need to be responsible for.
Right.
And so I'm not going to do that either. I'm not going to do it for him, and neither is Kim. So instead, we're just sort of like, are you going to do it? Are you going to
Instead, you are doing something for him. You're his constant reminder.
Yeah, which is, we've had this discussion actually. We're like, how much of that is too much even then? Like at some point, we just have to let him wear the monkey and not.
He just needs to pay rent in 2 places across the country for a month or 2.
Then he's going to realize it. But see, that's where I'd have a hard time. having them learn to pick up after themselves because their room is going to smell like garbage versus, now he's going to be in some financial issues.
Yeah. You're gonna be in a pinch.
It's got to be the hardest thing. You're doing the right thing, but it's got to be the hardest thing to.
It's hard. Like part of me wants to just say, all right, give me the info. I'll take care of it, and I'll pay your thing, and I'll make sure none of this even touches you. Like, part of me wants to do that, but I know that's the wrong thing to do. I know it is, because if I do that, the lesson goes flying off into the ether, and no one learned anything.
It goes off and hits your microphone. And,
right,
and that's
that actually hurt.
Yeah.
I hit my knuckle.
Well, he'll have learned something.
Yeah.
He'll have learned that his parents will just keep reminding him of things, and then when he doesn't do the thing that they keep reminding him to do, they'll rescue him from the consequences of the thing.
Yeah,
right?
We're not going to.
But here's where this ties into the topic: is that your interest here is actually because you've been a few places in your life. You know how life works. You've been an adult for a while. You've paid your proverbial 2 rents at the same time. You know what mistakes cost and what pain they are.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to help him skip over all of those experiences because you know better. And I get it. Now, it's not saying that's a bad inclination, right? Of course we don't want people to suffer.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the opposite. You do have actual empathy, and he's your kid, and it's connected to you. So this would be like if you, I don't know how to flip it, but it is because it's based off your own experience, correct? Right. And just, better, like, how the world works. Yeah. And so that's hard to just watch someone flounder a little bit when you know how the world works and you could just tell them. Mm-hmm. But there's the irony, right? Telling someone doesn't ever work.
It's the great paradox of parenting. Because the entire thing with parenting is that because of your experience, you are suited to help raise this person. But because of that experience, you have a prowess as a parent because of the experience, but also because of that experience, you are paralyzed at times because the only reason is because you had it. It's not because dad said, "Now be careful with your money, son." That's not why I know that this is a bad thing for him to do. I know it because I had my own experiences that taught me that. Like, I'm sure my dad told me that all the time, but I wasn't really listening, or I didn't really, I was like, whatever, Dad, move on. So I know it's such a paradox because I not only know that, but I also know that I know that. If that makes sense? Like, I have the perspective of pull it out and go, well, yeah, he has to. This is his journey, not mine, and I can't oversteer here. I can support and that sort of thing from afar, but sometimes supporting is not supporting. Sometimes it's saying, "All right, well, good luck." That's hard.
Yeah, exactly that. And here's the thing too: is that of course you love your kid. This is not even related to love. It's related to, and here's where this is applicable to all of us, and even if we're not parents, that our experience informs our opinion. Our experience informs the way we view the world. So when I have nothing but positive experiences in a person, with a particular person or group of people, or in a company that I have nothing but they've been so responsive to me, blah, blah, blah. I just have all good to say, right? Like, it feels fine. So then when someone comes along who isn't white or isn't cisgendered or isn't, is having a very different world experience from me, and this company they felt discriminated by, or they didn't get some of the benefits I don't even notice I'm getting, and then they say it out loud, I got to now understand how my brain works, right? So my own experience is telling me that what they're saying is not true. Yeah. Like, how is that even possible, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then how do we bridge? It's an intellectual gap, right? Of like the parts of us that like the things we have and the privilege we've experienced and are even unaware of it. Like, to have that challenge threatens a little something, right? So for example, Nick is just being Nick in the context of his parents living in the same place. Nick has yet to experience living over here where it can't call you guys every 2 seconds and have you run over and do something. Not that that's what it is, but
I understand.
That option is gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's going to develop I was going to say tentacles. That's a weird thought. But anyway, something
He will
that
now
helps him handle
develop
life.
tentacles. I'm excited for his tentacle stage.
Bristles, grit. That's the word. Anyway, but just something.
There you go. Sure.
Right? That like he's going to have to spend some time and energy becoming more independent. And what that actually looks like is not easy. And most of us don't choose that stuff necessarily. There's a lot of people who do, though. Like they'll find the hardest thing they can do and make sure they do it, right? But very often it's like we're comfort driven and safety driven. And so he's gonna grow up into a different person than maybe he's even expecting. But your experience and his are going to be different. This is the age-old father, son, mother, daughter thing too, which is, my experience was this, and so shouldn't my kids be close to this, especially if it was positive or even neutral, right? And then of course if it's negative, we're trying to save them from that. Now that's not to say you don't give your kids some advice here or there or try to steer them, of course, but you're done raising him. Like you're way done.
I may not be done influencing him, but that's different. It's not the
very
same.
Different. Absolutely. And you're still creating, that there's love and security and all the good things, right? Like none of that is done. But the other stuff of like, he's got the rest of the raising is going to be done by him. And so go back to my analogy with other people though. So taking away from parenting, do either of you have sort of thoughts on like, maybe if you've been smacked in the face with the moment where you realize like your own experience is so different from someone else's and you've missed it? Or have you doubled down on like, well, in my day, or, whatever version of like, you're right and someone else must be wrong because I have not had that experience?
Well, Brian, I've been pretty yappy. Do you have anything that jumps to mind for you?
I don't. I've been racking my brains trying to think of something comparable, and it's either politics based or it's some very tender topics right now with
don't do that.
Tina and her brother that
Sure. Well, here's the funny thing about you though, in particular, Brian, is something I've admired from afar, which is you don't get all up in other
duck's back lifestyle
like that, but you don't get all up in other people's business. If somebody's doing a thing, you're like, cool, go do your thing. Like you don't get wound up about somebody going to, even if it's completely the opposite of you, you sort of have a like, well, okay, and you're off.
It's gotten me into trouble with people thinking that either I don't care or that I don't pay enough attention to them to care about what they're doing. What I'm trying to say there.
Sure.
But no, it is that I'm fully of the belief, and this is one of the few things that I did carry over from my stepdad is this kind of let other people be, or let it be. Oh God.
Let it be.
That song stuck in my head. But that is what it is. I mean, it's, you don't know what's going on in somebody else's head kind of approach. I don't know how this applies, if this really applies to what we're talking about, but you don't know how the other person is thinking or feeling or what's causing them to do the thing that they're doing. So you've got to kind of let them do it. And if they need your advice, if they need your input, then you step in and you get involved.
Kind of a live and let live sort of thing. It's kind of like how, like my dad used to be that. He used to say that to us. We go to a restaurant and we get terrible service, and he'd say, "Now it's okay. We don't know what day they had. We don't know how they're doing. We don't know anything about that waiter. He may have had a real hard life," or all. He'd say things like that.
Right.
Meanwhile, my mom would be like, "This is the worst service I've ever had. But send this back and please spit on it."
I'm somewhere between the two, because I will complain about the service, but I'll do it in a way that is like I'm inviting them to
improve.
Well, not just improve. Let me allow you a way to improve and not be so horrible at your job. No, I invite. It's a way that welcomes you know what? We just got slammed. 2 people didn't come in today. That sort of thing. So it's not like I go and say, "Oh my God, your service is shit today."
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, you guys are a little bit slower than usual. Is everything all right? I give them basically the Kefes puts it perfectly, inviting them to contextualize.
Yeah.
So basically giving them the opportunity to say, yeah, this is what's going on in this world right now that you may not be aware of. And so I won't let somebody walk over me, but I will give them the opportunity to explain why they're stepping on my toes.
Yeah. I've had some situations like confrontations online where somebody will have a very strong opinion that I disagree with to the point that I just completely like just kind of blow up on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll come back with additional details. And then there have been times where I have to just sort of swallow my pride and go, they're actually right here, or I was too wrong, or I was I came in too hot and I didn't know about this, or I didn't know about that. And I try in those situations to go back and say, you know what, you're totally right. I screwed that up. That's totally my bad. I don't have a problem doing that. I don't have a problem admitting when I've done something wrong.
Totally, yeah.
But sometimes there's that rage moment where I'm still all up in the air on it, and I haven't slowed down to see where I was wrong yet. Mm-hmm. But as far as like a specific situation where I don't know, like where I'm not empathetic to somebody else's situation. I mean, I try to be. I don't know. I try to be.
The situation with Tina and her brother right now, I'm trying so hard to see his perspective on it and understand why he's being really mean to Tina right now, without going into details and outside of a political thing, which they, he and us are completely on opposite sides on, which I'm sure is kind of stemming some of this.
Yes.
But there's stuff that he's just like, I can't imagine ever talking to my sister or any member of my family the way he's been talking to Tina. And it just makes me want to, it does make me want to get involved and say, listen, you shut the F up and, so it's,
if you get Brian to want to say that to you, oof,
it's rough. Exactly. So as much as I've tried to say, okay, well, what could be making him say these things? What could be making him talk like this to Tina and approach things this way? It's impossible. I cannot think of an instance that would make me want to talk to somebody. So I run out of empathy right there. That's where.
Yeah. So that answered either of us answer your question, Wendy?
No, you're just you're just illustrating the challenge, right? It is really hard to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to really get curious enough about someone else when you're triggered is really, really hard. I think, for me personally, I read a story about one of the guys who stormed the castle, and I don't know if it was the way they wrote it or if I was actively attempting to.
You said castle again, by the way. I just want to point.
I know.
Out. Yeah.
I'm never changing that.
Oh, you're just going to keep it. Okay. All right. I like it.
Yeah. And just his story and just this sort of difficult life and the elements of his life that led him to that moment, and his relationships that have all crumbled, and how just becoming more paranoid and more virulent in his views have sort of led him to a place where he just like busted it and destroyed things inside the Capitol building of the United States of America. And it was empathy building, right? It helped me go, oh, there's the context. That's who this person is. All right. There's some even like compassion there. But real hard to do when you're just watching clips of it, right? Or really hard to wrap your head around, how is this possible that you think that's okay, or that this makes sense to you, or whatever. So politically, I think it shows up in such obvious ways that we just maybe have never walked in someone else's shoes, or we can't perceive the world the way they've perceived it. It just doesn't make any sense to us. And so it's scary. And like legitimately scarier than normal. It has been, at least in our lives, where you are like, I don't get it. And then parts of us don't want to get it because that feels worse, so we're really conflicted. But even if you pull this into your personal lives, I have no doubt, like when you're talking about Tina and her brother, that an underlying fomenting of emotional stuff is happening for everyone. Have you been to a Target lately where you like somebody drops something and the whole room jumps a foot? Like nobody is okay, right? And And here's the thing about white people not knowing if other white people are on their team for the first time.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating.
Yeah, that's an interesting psychological dive. Sure.
I felt that way when I moved here, actually. I was like, I'm surrounded by white Americans who they look Swedish a little, but I know what Swedes think. I don't know who these people are. It was very bizarre anyway. So I feel like that's a new element. And then there's just underlying people are watching and feeling and experiencing their own things. Like our Capitol is all boarded up because there's plans for it to be attacked. Open plans.
Mm-hmm.
And I have friends that live down there that need me to bring them some food because they can't get into a grocery store for 5 miles. Like that's real right now. And then you say, so how's your marriage doing?
Yeah.
Right? Or how is this discussion about, with this interfamily need that is totally not related to politics? It's going to leak into that because it's sort of top of mind or emotionally has riled so many people up. And so, like, here's a perfect example. I talked to Misha and she says, so are you going to get a gun now?
Really?
Because, Civil War. I said, Misha, first of all, I'll never get a gun.
Yeah.
I'll move back to Europe first.
Yeah.
So there's my promise. But also, like, I think you've miscalculated how many, like, really good folks still live around here and are doing their best. And everyone's a little upset and concerned, but not all of us have lost our minds, right? Like it feels a little that way. And that's, that's the challenge. And I'm telling you, left and right, I am watching marriages the strain and the dynamic of, first of all, your, kids are in your house trying to go to school, which of course isn't working. And, all of the underlying is the worst possible thing for relationships. Yeah. So this is where it's tricky to do this curiosity work or to really check your own biases or pay attention to the parts of you that rise up when somebody says a certain thing, when it feels like, you're walking on lava. So that was hopeful. Let me end with, I don't know.
No, this is good. This is good.
It's hard.
This is really good. Really like, I start to just to, some of the people that stormed the castle. I'll start talking like you. The shaman guy, the QAnon shaman guy. We had a whole story on the show earlier here where it has been very easy for us to just reduce this dude down to a conspiratory dude who believes everything he's told and has made it a lifestyle, really, and adhered himself to it so tightly that he cosplays for it. And that the story that came out that now that he's in detention, they arrested him, he's in detention awaiting his stuff, he wouldn't eat because none of the food there is organic, and his mom had to report to the press that he's basically starving himself because he can't eat he has to have organic food. And it's easy to hear that and go, what a wuss, who's the snowflake now? And we did it here. We had a story about it, and we made some pretty good fun of that guy. And I still say some of that's justified, given what he was
I'm having
up
a hard
to.
time finding any of it that's not, but okay.
Yeah, but that's my whole point.
Justified.
That's my whole point is we have to figure out a way to see that ridiculous stuff is there for sure, and the problems are there for sure. And he is in detention for a reason and needs to be prosecuted on the federal crimes he's charged with, and all that stuff needs to happen. Accountability. But it is possible for me on a personal level to dig down deep and go, all right, what's really the problem? Like where in his life did this go south? And do I understand any of that? Do I have any of that contextualization that waiter will give Brian at a restaurant? No, I don't. I don't have any of it. I don't know when he went full shaman. I don't know when that was. He's only 33, so maybe it happened in his 20s. Maybe he had a real rough time. Maybe I don't know. I have no idea. I know what he did was wrong, and I know that part's easy. I know what you did is wrong. But then me going to the 9th mile to try to nitpick every single thing about a person's life who I know nothing about is probably not good for me. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I'm trying.
I think you can, it is, you just hit on a really important point, which is it's just easy to be lazy, right?
Yeah.
Just easy we have stereotypes, we have quick judgments. All of those things are our brain saving energy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I'm getting at, is there is a biophysical manifestation of the efficiency of brains going on, right? And its favorite tool, which is fear, right? So fear is an old friend for everybody, right? And when life goes too swimmingly, then brains, our amygdalas are like, all right, what else is terrifying? Okay, let's make up something, right? But when things are really kind of scary around us, it's just easier to see that and foment the fear and, be reactive to that. And which is why when, Mr. Rogers says, look for the helpers, that is a radical brain concept. It really is. Mm-hmm. That's why it is so invaluable, right? Which is like, really look around after the fear has, settled. What do you see? And it's most people. It really is. Whether they agree about certain things or not. In the end, I know my super Republican neighbor who can fly his Trump flag. If I knock on his door and say I need help, he's going to help me.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Humans are weird.
We are weird.
Right? And something to be really clear on is that this didn't come. I mean, I've always said, Trump is a symptom of the real America, like the stuff that we really struggle with, the fact that we call ourselves a melting pot and we haven't ever melted actually. And, lots of things like that. But there, he was like putting a fuse to a bottle rocket in a bottle, right? Like there was a lot more that he did. And here's where this is just my therapy at this point. Sorry, everybody. If you love Trump, I apologize. But is this, which is that what he said in his final ramp 'em up rally before they stormed the castle, said before, obviously.
Yeah.
What he said after, I think it was his last tweet. Maybe I'm wrong. Where he said, "We love you. You're special."
Oh, it was the video. It was the video. Yeah. So he put out this video that was like the rushed together sort of not scripted video, and he said, "We'll never accept defeat, but go home. We love you. You're great." Like, yeah, it was a weird. He
said the words "you're special."
Yeah, you're special.
You're special.
So all I hear there, and I'm just going to say this from every individual I've ever met, ever. And when they let me dig into their psyche, everybody needs to know they're okay. And then like the American Western version is the word special, right? Mm-hmm. We all are Luke Skywalker, who is nothing on a planet and ends up being the most important thing in the world, right? Like that speaks to all of us.
Right.
And so to use that kind of language to say, we love you and you are special. It isn't like I know he doesn't read books very much, but it is as if he read The Dictator's Handbook, right? It is very much about creating a bond and a connection that isn't simply like, I have good ideas. Why don't you follow me? Right? There's so much more to it. And my first thought was, oh, poor Eric. He's probably never said that to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I guarantee Eric and Don Jr. never hear that kind of language.
No.
Maybe
right.
Ivanka.
Anyway, so that was to me the really alarming part. And so when I read this story about the guy with the horns, or I read this story about this other man, I think you're loved and special. Oh my gosh. That's what this ultimately is. There is this and this is away from the ideas, right? Like you can disagree on how to spend tax money or if the government role in this or that is a good thing. All of that is like on the surface, but this level of sort of, other countries have experienced this before. This is not new in human history.
Right.
But it's kind of new for us. But there is this, like, I see you. I mean, he wouldn't get within 10 feet of any of them in real life, right?
Oh, no.
He's a germaphobe.
Dude, he wouldn't spend
he has
5 seconds with the shaman, QAnon shaman. Not 5 minutes with that guy. There's no freaking way.
Not a chance.
No
but
way.
To think you are special because someone who's rich and powerful tells you they love you and you're special, and you've already spent all this. I mean, it's something. And so I think, where are we at where there's this kind of hole in many people's lives, and for those total liberal, same problem. Your mother doesn't love you. I mean, you know what I mean? It's irrelevant to politics in the end. It's just how it shows up is there's just a lot of pain and grief. And I am one depressing person today. Sorry, everybody. Now I'm going to do a crazy laugh.
She did it. But don't worry, there's good news because realsteps.org is now in its phase 4 expansion or whatever the heck you're calling it.
Phase 5.
Phase
this
5.
is our 5th one.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's happening now. Now wait, did people already have to be signed up and ready, or where are we?
Yes. Last time I just hadn't quite got the website ready. So it's ready now, and that's embarrassing. But it is ready now. You just go to realsteps.org and you can read all about it. And I also sign up there. I'm stoked. I am just read through my we have a Discord channel for Real Steps, and just read through, and lots of people are signing up and excited, and I am really excited. We have some really fun things. And really, I mean, I have to sometimes stop and go, wow, we did this in 2020. Like, what craziness has this been?
Yeah.
But it's been really nice to have our group, and I feel like they're all my friends now. It's awesome. We're really having a good time and learning how to manage our stuff and feel better. It's good. So sign up. We'd love for you to join us.
Yeah, go check it out. There's a sign up link right at the top of the page at realstops.org, or you can read through it, and then a big sign up link at the bottom. But the sign ups are happening. I'm looking at them right now. Go do it. You'll be happy that you did. Wendy, fantastic week. I hope, I don't know if it's fantastic, but hey, it's a week. Next week.
Hope you have a week.
Yeah, you were
Hope
great.
you make it to next week.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk the next day or so when things suss out for Mom. But in between that, we'll look forward to another week with Wendy here on the show. Thanks for being here.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you, Wendy.
All right. There you have it. Well, Ryan, after today's heady discussion, it's time for us to slink off into the night. But before we do, we got some fan service. Hold on.
Fan
service! This is from... did I not get the person's name? That would be bad.
No, but his name is Dave.
Okay, thank
Tell
you.
him Dave. Yes. Actually, he does say it in the beginning.
Oh, it does. Okay, I thought I lost it. Here we go. Hey, Sandshrew and Bell Sprout.
Pokemons.
Those are. Yeah, and you're a Bell Sprout. I don't know what that is.
I'm a Bell Sprout.
That means your nature damage, and I'm just guessing here.
Yeah, that's a grass type.
Okay.
Yeah.
You like some sweet grass. That's what Brian likes.
It's
they don't
Colorado.
They don't call it grass anymore, do they? Nobody says that anymore, do they?
I think, I don't. Probably the new generation of marijuana smokers probably don't call it grass.
Yeah, seems like it's probably.
They want to come over and smoke some grass.
I feel like that needs to make a comeback. But anyway,
it's like you have to have a denim jacket to call it grass.
Yeah, and we're not allowed. This one's made out of cloth of some sort. All right. Anyways, Dave says he called in, been listening to TMS for years. I've gotten through some rough times, like these ones. Anyway, I'm not sure if you're still doing this. We absolutely are. But he started a fresh YouTube channel. We're trying new drinks and foods, everything from craft beers to new special holiday candies. It's called The Snack Network. We're doing our first live stream next week, and we put up our first 20 videos. There's a ton up there already. The Tadpool has done nothing but make me smile for years. I'd love to see some of those faces in our comments. The channel is The Snack Network. You can just go straight to it by going to thesnacknetwork.com. It'll take you right there. Thank you and your amazing audience. Love the show, bro. But is it too early to get a fish sandwich? Never too early. Hold on.
Hey, it's too early to get a fish sandwich.
There he is.
I like your impersonation of it, though. That was just as good.
Anyway, so there's that. We're happy to do that for you, and good luck. I'm going to go check it out myself a little bit later today.
I checked it out a little bit this morning. It's a very cool setup.
That's awesome.
Beer tasting and something called Kool-Aid pickles, which I'd never heard of before. But
whoa, what the heck is that? That sounds...
I don't know. It scares me.
Sounds Southern to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like something my wife would
totally
bring
does.
home.
Yeah. Well, come over for some Kool-Aid pickles.
Dude, these guys are already making like great thumbnails where, you know,
yes,
a good YouTube thumbnail always has your face going to get a little title in there.
Exactly. Oh my God, yeah. I've been getting hooked on miniature painting videos to like get some ideas for shading and highlighting. This is the guy that actually I really dig, and he doesn't do any of that goofy. Put it in our show notes right under fan service. This guy's great. I mean, he breaks it down into base colors. He starts with a really dark base color and then builds highlights on top of it, as opposed to some videos where they start with a medium base color and then does shadowing and highlighting on it. But he starts dark and goes light from that.
That's cool. You should start doing you should do a little series, Brian. You do some.
I could. People would say it basically be teaching people how not to do it and they would have to tell me remind me in chat to slow down.
I see. Slow
That's
down.
my biggest problem with doing these minis is I want to paint it all now and I got to slow down. It's like, all right, thin layer, then another thin layer, then another thin layer.
That's a good I need to do that more in general. It's
exactly.
too fast. Everyone slow down. Like this clip says.
It just all...
Oh, no, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Nope.
Slow this sucker down.
That's it.
What was that second one? What was that second one with the high pitched?
That's Carter laughing in slow motion. I'll do it again.
Oh, wow. That is the best.
That's pretty good. We did all the kids one night and recorded them all laughing really hard, but one day those will be valuable bits of audio. Anyway,
I will be able to show the I have a Captain Marvel and a Captain America that I think I've finished. I don't think I have anything else I want to do to them, so
yeah,
I'll be able to send you photos of those guys soon.
Very nice. I'm excited. Yeah. Anyway, big thanks to the folks over there at the Snack Network. Go check it out. TheSnackNetwork.com.
The Snack Network.
One of them has like 3 sets of rock band drums. Can't figure out why.
Yes, I know in the background. That's Dave. He has
that's a lot.
I think he like this is everybody's basement, right? It's like well, I got the rock band guitar drums, and then I got the Guitar Hero drums. And
he's got 3 sets of the things, or at least 2 that I can see. That's a lot.
He's trying to become the Neil Peart of rock band, where he's just surrounded in a circle by drums.
He's gonna start going upside down.
The wall, yeah, exactly.
Okay, we've finished. We've done. We've done. Yeah. Patreon.com/TMS for your support, please. We need it. Go over there and check it out. Plenty of great things to get. I just sent off artwork for this month, and you'll be getting that exclusively because no one else gets it. So it's over there at patreon.com/TMS, along with lots of other rewards. Please do check it out. It's looking. We had a conversation earlier about the next Playdate. Maybe we do that on the weekend of our 10-year anniversary and celebrate that.
That makes sense. As opposed to doing it at the very end of the month, we do it over the weekend of the 23rd, 24th.
Yeah. So we'll let you guys know time and all that, but looking like that'll be it.
I think we do more Among Us or 2.
Oh, that's fun. That game.
That was such a blast. Yeah.
It's really good. The website is frogpants.com/TMS. Send us your emails, themorningstream@gmail.com. You got questions for Wendy? We take those here too. So if you've got a little thing going on in your life you want some advice on, we're happy to field those for her. Again, that is themorningstream@gmail.com. We're done now, but we need songs.
Morning Stream.
Play me a song, Brian, won't you?
Okay. Sam Bloomer, a.k.a. Matuba, in the chat room wrote in and said, "Hey, spaghetti and beans. Ooh. My birthday was on December 6th. Yay, who cares, smiley face. It was a I was a huge Jethro Tull fan in my early 20s. This cover is a good one, but any cover of a Tull track would take me back to a more carefree, virus-free time. I look forward to hanging out and chat and listening to the silliness every morning while working. Currently, I'm laid off, so I can listen to my sweatpants. Hee hee. Thank you, and shovel the snow, bro. I'm not going to make Scott try and find any sounders like scooters or that chicken sandwich stuff."
Oh, man, you really don't. I mean, look.
But you
now I'm
mentioned
just play
it. So, of course,
bacon cheddar ranch.
No getting around it.
Yeah, so this is cool. This is from a 2000 album called Songs for Jethro Volume 1. And you've got your Aqualung, you've got your Locomotive Breath. I think there's probably a cover of Living in the Past on there. So it's all the big songs, and then there's this one that he recommended. And I really dig this. I'm not at all familiar with the original version, so I'm just appreciating this for what it is as opposed to what it's a cover of. This is Sylvia Perlini and Gianni Machedi, and boy, you will hear some accents in this, with their cover of Jethro Tull's Only Solitaire.
Sitting on a park bench. That's all I always think of. That's all I can ever think of. But that's just me. Hey,
stop running down his nose.
We'll be back tomorrow at 3:30 Mountain Time for a Patreon edition of the show. If you're a patron, you'll get it. And if you sign up today, you'll get it. It's that fast. You'll have it by tomorrow. So come on back for that. That'll do it for us. We'll see you then. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.
He is deranged.
Yes.
Deranged.